Desperate to regain control, is Donald Trump blackmailing Washington's closest allies? And is it a sign of growing frustration within the White House as the U.S. military faces mounting setbacks?
I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory. It's the place from which they get their energy. And they should come and they should help us protect it.
The once dominant U.S. Navy is now struggling against Iran's expanding influence, reportedly seeking to assemble a much larger coalition of nations just to keep vital oil shipping lanes open and secure. What began as a show of strength has now turned into a rapidly escalating confrontation, with the Iran war appearing to spiral far beyond President Trump's grasp. In a striking move, Trump has now resorted to threatening NATO partners, pressuring them to fall in line even as nervous European allies desperately distance themselves from any direct involvement. The United States continues to face growing domestic and international pressure as energy prices surge, driven by escalating tensions and supply disruptions amid the ongoing Iran conflict. President Donald Trump is stepping up efforts to push U.S. allies into backing Washington's stance, as he attempts to build an anti-Iran coalition in response to worsening instability in the Gulf. According to new intelligence reports, the White House may announce as early as this week the official formation of this coalition, highlighting the urgency of America's oil security concerns. Trump is reportedly calling for the creation of a broad international bloc tasked specifically with protecting global oil shipments navigating the highly contested Strait of Hormuz. The Wall Street Journal reported on March 15 that Trump's push for an international military coalition is well underway, marking one of Washington's most direct responses to Iranian aggression so far. Sources say the proposed coalition would take on the responsibility of escorting commercial vessels and oil tankers through the volatile waters of the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz, lying just off Iran's southern coast, remains a critical trade artery, channeling nearly one-fifth of the world's total oil shipments through its narrow passage. In recent days, commercial shipping through the strait has slowed to a near standstill, as the intensifying conflict and escalating naval skirmishes have discouraged maritime transit. Tehran has gone further, vowing to set fire to any foreign oil tanker that enters or attempts to navigate the Strait of Hormuz without its permission. In a defiant statement, President Trump declared that any nation dependent on Gulf oil must now take full responsibility for defending its shipping routes and securing the vital Strait of Hormuz. On March 15, UK, Prime Minister Keir Starmer held a telephone conversation with President Donald Trump, during which the two leaders discussed the rapidly rising global oil prices and the deepening crisis in the Gulf region.
I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory. It's the place from which they get their energy. And they should come and they should help us protect it.
Trump reportedly told advisors that he expects major world powers, China, France, Japan, South Korea, and Britain, to join his proposed international coalition aimed at countering Iran and protecting shipping lanes in the Strait of Hormuz. In a remark that stirred unease across Europe, Trump warned that NATO members face a very bad future if they fail to support Washington's military and strategic efforts in the ongoing standoff with Tehran. The US president went even further, suggesting that America might once again launch strikes on Iran's Karg Island, an essential oil export hub, remarking provocatively that it could be done just for fun. President Donald Trump said earlier US airstrikes on Iran's Karg Island did not target oil facilities, but instead totally demolished a range of military installations and defense infrastructure stationed on the island, marking a deliberate escalation in Washington's tactical campaign. Meanwhile, U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright stated optimistically that the war with Iran could conclude within the next few weeks, despite growing skepticism among military analysts and international observers.
Everyone knows that the issue with the Strait of Hormuz, of course, meticulous planning went into what might happen with the Strait of Hormuz, how to deal with that. Our chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, is known for many things, but high on that list is an absolute meticulous planner of all of the scenarios that might unfold. Yeah, I think that this conflict will certainly come to the end in the next few weeks. Could be sooner than that, but the conflict will come to the end in the next few weeks, and we'll see a rebound in supplies and a pushing down of prices after that. But yes, we were very aware that we would have short-term disruption. We would cause a little bit of increased prices on Americans. Prices today are still far below what they were in the Biden administration, where they were begging, bartering, and bribing Iran to behave better. We had $5 gasoline in the middle of the Biden administration. We hope we don't get there this time, but at least this increase in gasoline prices is for something that's going to change the geopolitical situation in the world forever. All nations of the world depend on products that come from the Straits of Hormuz. China top on that list, Japan, Korea, all the Asian nations is where the energy that comes out of the Straits of Hormuz flows to. So those are the nations that most immediately impacted by this. So of course it's quite logical to have a broad coalition of the nations of the world work to reopen the straits. But first and foremost right now is to finish to destroy Iran's ability to project military force in the region and around the world.
On February 28th, the United States and Israel reportedly launched a joint military operation targeting Iranian leadership in a strike that resulted in the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, a seismic event that has shaken the entire Middle East. In the days that followed, Iran's leadership moved swiftly to announce a successor, with Ayatollah Khamenei's son, Mujtaba Khamenei, officially declared as the new supreme leader between March the 8th and 9th, signaling continuity but also escalating uncertainty within the regime. In retaliation, Iran has unleashed a series of coordinated drone and missile attacks across the Persian Gulf, deliberately targeting energy infrastructure and oil facilities belonging to Gulf nations allied with the West. Countries including the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman have all sustained damage, as explosions and fires from Iran's precision strikes continue to disrupt energy exports and regional security. However, Iran's powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has publicly accused the United States and Israel of orchestrating or fabricating certain attacks on Gulf oil installations, seeking to portray Washington and Tel Aviv as instigators of chaos in the region.
Attention to all neighboring countries and the Muslim people of the region. The defeated enemy in the military battlefield and in political coalition against Iran has resorted to trickery and deceit and, with a diabolical plot, has copied the Iranian Shahd 136 drone and, under a new name, the Lucas drone, attacks unjustified targets in regional countries. The enemy's goal is to foster pessimism and level accusations against the Islamic Republic of Iran. The ultimate aim is to create discord between Iran and its neighbors, thereby undermining the legitimate and legal defensive actions of Iran's armed forces. Governments and nations of the region should know that the Islamic Republic of Iran's defense doctrine against military aggressions by the United States and the Zionist regime is based on a completely legal and logically sound foundation. The Islamic Republic of Iran, as it has repeatedly announced, only targets the centers and interests of the United States and the Zionist regime, and wherever it targets, it takes responsibility for it in an official announcement and will be accountable for its consequences. Examples of these enemy tricks are the malicious attacks on centers in neighboring and friendly countries such as Turkey, Kuwait, and Iraq in recent days, and the attribution of it to the Islamic Republic of Iran's armed forces. The swift and wise reactions of countries' officials to these deceptive and diabolical moves will nip this conspiracy in the bud. Being deceived by Satan and his divisive positions will only encourage him to spread it. Therefore, it is essential that we trust one another and, by maintaining unity and cooperation, make the foreign aggressor enemy regret persisting in these machinations.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.